So I've got a couple cameras set up here for this stream on this switcher, which I'm excited about. This is the overhead cam. So I'll be able to talk to you here, and we're going to be looking at the bag. And then over here. So the first thing I want to show you is, so I started building out this mini bag about, what was it, 3 months ago? And it took me about 3 months of ordering and planning just to get to this point. The bag is complete, the build is complete, minus the cabling. So here's a screenshot of 3 of the prototype. So basically, Protogear can take any piece of equipment, and basically these are 2-spec prototype measurements to kind of communicate how the bag will look based upon the workflow that you choose. So the first thing is, it's I believe the material is Cordova, and as you can see, you have the Protogear label here. And here on the bottom is basically, I asked for buttons. They can do Velcro, but I just thought it would be cool to have buttons. And then I'm kind of trying to look at the camera here and make sure that you guys are seeing as well. I have it kind of upside down. So these are also some clips that they have sewn in, as you can see here, which is good for fastening. Also some soft side hook and latch or Velcro, and some nice padding here. So this is a lid, and all of this fits inside of the Doro case that you can order with the Cantar Mini. So I'm gonna unbuckle this. Kind of sounds like Foley, right? And there's a little button here, as you can see, which actually helps this detachable pouch right here on the top, and a zipper here that simply removes the lid. So I'm going to do that, and then we have the top of the unit. So I wanted the workflow to be something that I could just simply set down on a surface or cart. So removing the top, once we give it power and so forth, we should be very close to being ready to work. So let me go back here. All right. So on the top of the bag here, as you can see, the Cantar surface, I'm just going to go ahead. I can lift this out of the way or detach it. I think for right now, I'm going to go ahead and detach the top zipper pouch. I love that this can be detached, and inside of here, you could keep like cables or battery caps or antennas or things that you may or may not need on the bag, depending upon your workflow. So I'll power up the Cantar, and then also power up the bag. So right now I have 2 49 watt-hour smart batteries in the rear here, and then I'm also running a 98 watt-hour on a BDS here. So I'm going to go ahead and power up the BDS, and as you can see, nothing's falling out of the bag. We can talk about how it's secured. I can kind of shake it around, and then I'm going to power it up here with this BDS by AutoRoot. This is the AudioRoot BDU. And then here we have a sound devices 822, not sound devices, Lectrosonix, excuse me, 822. And then the Sonosax M2D2. And then here I have a Betso TCX2 transceiver sync box. And then we have the PSC 6-pack with 3 SRCs. And that's kind of the front portion here. So the orientation of the bag would be this way, like so. So I can read all of these controls from the front face really easy. And then here on the top, right there, are 2 Sony 941 receivers, which is what I use for crew comm systems. And because having crew communication is a very important part of my workflow, especially in television, where things move very quickly. Also, since we're talking about gear, over here on the side is a Comtech Base Station 75 that is also on a custom pouch. And then here on this side is the Lectrosonix SMQV. Now this is crazy. I want to talk about this for a second, since we're talking about tech, old and new. This SMQV right here is the one that doesn't have the backlight battery. I'm trying to get it in focus. It's not going to happen. I'll just keep it back here. It can go up to quarter watt, 250 milliwatt, and I had two of these that were 10 years old, either 8 to 10 years old. I think 10. And when Lectrosonix opened these up, they were corroded somewhat on the inside, and I wanted them reblocked because they were on block 24 and 26. So I actually had these reblocked, two of these, and recased. So these are working as IFBs for my R1A IFB receivers in block 20. And so when I sent them to Lectrosonix, they came back and they said, hey, Michael, these things are corroded on the inside, and it's going to cost you X amount of dollars more. We do, however, have block 20 RF boards for the SMQVs, and we can do the work. And I said, absolutely do the work. So for half the cost of a brand new transmitter, I got two brand new SMQVs at quarter watt. And most importantly, my crew who's carrying the R1As do not have to do any changeovers. I got one for this bag. The main cart has a T4, and then another one for a 633 bag. So 3 independent systems that all are requiring no changeover on the crews. And speaking of no changeovers, that's why I have the Sony comm systems that you can see here on top. Now I'm changing out these cables on this bag basically for crew comm, so they can basically talk to me here. Okay, I'm trying to think like what other gear is in here that I haven't talked about. I mean, from a gear standpoint, things are what I think are pretty simple. You know, this base station 75 here, I can't tell you how many times, because obviously I could have gone lighter and whatever with the option 7 clip-on base station, which I have on another sound, but the 633 bag. And it's my experience on a film set that you're going to struggle at a certain distance. I've also had interference from the transceivers as well, if these are transmitting RF inside of the bag on those units. And for process trailer, forget it. I always had to pull off my base station 75, this here, for process trailer work, because you know they'll have a follow van or a follow paddy wagon or whatever, you know, they're toting around the producers and directors and everybody in, and you want unreliable range. And so that's why I said, you know, I'm getting another base station 75, which could also double as like an earwig monitor send or something. Like, if you know, it really came down to is I was tired of pulling stuff out of the main cart and putting it in a bag rig. There's no time for that. I mean, the demands on us in television and film is just insane. It's the turnaround times, the everything. I'm saying I want a system, no prep, plug and play, just go. And that was the goal here. So let's keep on going down the rig here and talking about the bag some more. So I think that covers gear, like kind of what's in it. Another thing is like I don't think there's any one right way to do the Protogear bag. I want to say that real quick because there's so many amazing designs and thought processes, and it really comes down to the gear you use and how you like to work. I mean, it's really that simple. So building a bag is really based on your needs, and it really became very apparent to me how important it is to or how much easier it is when you have just like a pre-made bag that someone else makes, like another manufacturer, and you just stuff everything in there, unlike the rectangular recorders and your typical kind of workflows. But you know, with the Cantar Mini, it's just a different design than any other type of recorder, you know, because you have your mixer fader panels here, your trims here, and it's more like a mixing surface. And so you're not going to be able to put this in the same kind of bag and have it work the same kind of way for you. So it was actually really, really challenging. So let me really give you a look at some of the things that I wasn't able to find on Instagram and Facebook and all the different things about this bag. Because I was like, well, where do I put the cables and what goes on behind the scenes here? So let me show you that stuff. So I'm going to keep an eye on the side camera. So first things, these use these locking mechanisms here, which I'm sure have a name, that click into place and lock. And you have to kind of press it in to release. And then it's also reinforced with Velcro. So I'm going to remove this here. And so you can see the side. And I'm trying to work in limited space, but also make sure you can see here. Okay, so this is the side. And as you can see, you've got zipper and Velcro. Sorry about your ears there. And I'm going to try to lean it to the side so you can see that we have full access to the lower. Well, you're not seeing that. Let's fix that. All right. Let's try this here and see if this is. I'm trying to get. There it is. That's about as good as I'm going to do. And nothing's falling out, so that's a good sign. So here's the side of the PSC 6-pack. And then as you can see, I got enough room here to do right angle. I don't have to do right angle connectors if I don't want to, or I can, and that's what I'm still figuring out right now. Power here, and then of course the RF that's feeding the 822. And then in the rear, strapped in with an elastic strap, is the 98 watt hour Audio Root BDS that's powering the bag. Everything except the Cantar, because the runtime, since I have two 48 watt hours in the back of the Cantar Mini, I can see how much, I'll get about 6 hours runtime from just those, only powering the Cantar Mini, right under 6 hours, and then can get 8+ hours on everything else in the back. So that means I could do battery power for a full half day with no battery changes on a typical film set. So moving right along here, I'm going to zip this back up so I can kind of move around the bag a little bit and keep this tour happening here. All right. As you can see, I'm trying to make sure you can see, there's a strap that straps on here. Now, I'm going to put this in stop mode so I can spin it around and put these antennas, fold these down. Obviously, these are going to be right angle connectors on these Sony comms. And I'm trying to be careful because I'm doing some awkward stuff with this bag that I normally probably wouldn't do. Okay, so as you can see here, there's a flap here for access to the battery doors. And then on the rear here, and once again, trying to be careful, this is the slot for your cables and battery and all that kind of stuff there. And then, as you can see here, there's access ports, which you can't see it yet, but I'm going to show you. So all throughout the bag are these little access ports here where the cables can travel. So I have them here, I have them behind here, and also you have cable travel ports on the sides as well. And let me show you that. And it's interesting how tight, whoa, sorry about that, guys. I'm having to swing the mic back and forth. It's interesting how tight the integration is for the bag, because I'm even able to kind of move it in directions. Nothing's falling out. So that's important. That means I can put it on the shoulder, I can bag strap it. So it's really a combination of Velcro. Also, the Mini has a 3/8 bolt built into the bag underneath, which I'm not going to be able to show you. And everything I need for working on that. So let's look at the right-hand side here and see if I can't show you some of the other stuff. So I'm going to remove the the Space Station 75 by Velcroing it, and then once again releasing it from the quick release here. As you can see, it just comes off. And then I'm able to undo the side here with the zipper. I'll try to do that. And then as you can see, now I have access to, well, let me make sure you can see. I have access to the side. It's a little dark in there, but this is the other side of the 6-pack PSC. There, and then of course another access hole. So it reminds me of kind of the other bags I have, like it does have a the being able to access any side, kind of like the Orca bag that I have for my other recorder. All right, so I'm going to leave this kind of in this orientation. And I'll talk a little bit next about how I plan on some of my workflow on this bag, so you can kind of get an insight of what the capabilities will be. Oh, I didn't show you, and I'll put this back. So as you can see, this stuff kind of goes back into place pretty nice. And all right. And then I can actually come back here. And as you can see, the Velcro, the saw side's on the inside of the bag there. So I can just kind of, put it there, and it keeps it from drooping this way. Okay. So I'll put this back where it goes and talk about next the input-output capability of the bag. So, the capabilities of the bag are 8 wireless and also 2 comm receivers for crew, and that's how I'm utilizing all 10 of the inputs. And there is also 8 analog outputs of the Mini, and then you have 2 AES-342 outs and 2 AES-342 inputs. So that gives you a total of 4 channels on input and output on your AES. So for most scenarios, there should be no problems. I do have the ability, if I choose to add 2 more wireless channels for a total of 10 inputs if I want to lose my comm channels in the event that I need those extra channels. However, that would require for me to put in another receiver or dual channel receiver. So I'll go over the basic workflow with you real quick here, and then we can get into some questions and Q&A and all that kind of stuff. So here is the 6 analog through the SRCs. I've got 1 A1 and 2 B1s, I think. Yeah, that's right. And this does have the built-in Hydra integration and the PSC 6-pack. So that is what is occupying my 6 trim knobs here. These trims are fully customizable, so if you come in and you hold this down, I can easily reassign it to the 822 or vice versa. Because obviously here on the Sonosax, which I'll let you see here, is also 2 mic inputs, which is probably difficult to see from that angle, but I can actually use these 2 as trims. It's not stepless gain, it's clicked gain, but with some testing, it's pretty darn nice as far as using that as a trim. So I don't have to have the A-Box 8 with the system. I may, keep in mind I haven't deployed this yet, so there'll probably be some changes once I get into it. This is kind of the initial feel of where I'm thinking with it. And then you have the 822 that you see here, which is just a fabulous 2-channel receiver by Lectrosonix that has 2 RF front ends per channel, basically to get this vector diversity 2 front ends per channel, you would actually it would take a whole DSQD 4-channel rack to do what these 2 channels can do. And this unit has an AES out, which is going to send into, obviously, the AES input of the Cantar Mini, which is through the DB15, because it's directly AES out. And then the Sonosax has also an AES out. So I also ordered the Melody too. It just came in as a second option if I wanted to maybe not use the M2D2 workflow. I'm going to do a video on the M2D2 by itself, and I'm just going to like really touch base on, you know, at first glance it's like, oh, it's an analog preamp to AES out. Yes, at a very basic level it does do that, but it also is an audio interface. You could stream with it. You could also run Pro Tools with it, playback, and it also is an audio interface for a iOS device. So it adds what I'm going to say is unprecedented power to a machine like this. For those of you who see that, wow, oh wow, I could do playback from an iOS. Maybe you're playing back a telephone call from a previous set, or something that Post sent you that you need to feed to an in-ear monitor for an actor while you're recording a scene and you just want to use your phone for it. Maybe you have a live gig where you're going to be interfacing with you know, a Zoom call or something like that, and then you have to record locally and also capture via the World Wide Web. You know, these are all the realities of today that isn't just limited to commercials, corporate. You know, I mean, this stuff happens in film too. I mean, especially in these times, you know, where social distancing and not having everyone in the same room is the best idea. So that's that as far as the 8 channels workflow. And then the comms can come into the M2D2 and then out, or can be something else, hardline input, however you want to configure the Sonosax to work for you. But that's going to be a whole thing. Like this product, you know, I haven't been in the business as long as a lot of the cats, you know, that are even probably here right now. But that's my first Sonosax product, and when I plugged it in, it blew my mind away. It literally blew my mind away when I heard it. And that hasn't happened in a long time with any piece of audio gear. So what have I not talked about? Oh, one last thing on the bag before we get into questions. This here is the SMQV, which we talked about. This is the IFB. So can run at 1/4 watt to your R1As. Obviously you have 8 analog out. So I have, with this rig, as you can see here, successfully duplicated my large cart, which can't go up flights of stairs. You can't hold it with a case and bring it onto a van and move to a location. You can't, I mean, you could do process trailer with it if you want to convince everyone to move your large cart onto the back of a process trailer, but the reality is having this second portable system is going to be really valuable to my workflow. So I want to move into some questions and comments here. It's really great to see everyone, and I'm so excited for this. And I want to say thank you, True Audio Atlanta. Thank you, John Hicks, for helping me with all of this gear choices and putting all this together. It took 3 months just to order and receive all this stuff and get it to this point. And huge thank you to Protogear, Virginia, for helping me navigate how to create this bag to work for me. Because I mean, the whole idea of a custom bag is not necessarily to make it the right way. It's to make it the way that you'd like to work. You know, think about your gear and they do bags for any sort of equipment or workflow. It's not limited to the Cantar system. So yeah, so let's move on to questions. You know, I have the bag here. One of the huge struggles with this bag when I was designing it is I couldn't see what was in the rear. I couldn't see what was in the side. And they did an amazing job explaining it to me, but I just really needed it in my hand. So if someone's like thinking about, hey, I want to build one of these bags for my setup, I think this could be really valuable for me or whatever. If there's anything I can show you, now is your chance here on the live stream to check that out or answer any questions about how I use it. Feel free to, or I'm going to use it. You know, I did do some testing. I put some posts on the Instagram of like it sitting next to the main cart. I wanted to test. I noticed zero sonic difference between the Mini and the main system. I mean, I matched them perfectly for the gain, for the headphones, everything. It was perfect. It was the exact same, which was amazing to me. Okay, so let's move here. Just want to say hello, Leo. It's great to see you. Thanks for being here. That's Raymond says that's a bag with protein. That's right, sir. There's a lot of meat and potatoes in that bag for sure. And then here we go. So it looks great. Let's go to some questions here. Lloyd has a question. How does the Sonosax interface with the Mini? I think that to answer your question, Lloyd, is it really, to me, brings the Mini into the 2021 workflows. It does have it has AES out, AES3 out for 2 channels. It has a line level out, balanced, or an unbalanced 2-channel line out. So with the Mini here, how I have it integrated is I'm sending AES out into the DB15 breakout cable. So I'll be feeding one of the 4 AES 342 channels with it. So that allows me to use that AES input as an audio interface for Pro Tools, a DAW, or anything to go directly into the Mini and or record and send to other sources. Also use it with an iOS device if I want to do playback or anything from an iOS device directly into the Cantar Mini. The M2D2 allows me to do that because it has a 3-stage power system. So the third one is battery, and that's why it can also work with an iOS device, because obviously, you know, an audio interface can be able to pull power from like the USB, but on an iOS device, the rules change and you're going to need a self-powered. So they did an amazing job thinking through how this would work. And then of course, the analog input. So if I'm not using comms and I'm doing a workflow where I'd want to hardline an input into the Mini, such as a documentary or something that has a sit-down interview type standpoint, then I would be able to simply use the breakout cables that I'm building or rebuilding and plug it into the M2D2 and use it that way. Or hardline boom. Maybe wireless is, you know, on the, maybe it's the worst congested ever and you just got to, you know, plug in a cable, which is, I've done that before too. Thanks for the question. Great question, Lloyd. Good to see you here too. All right. You had a question before that, Lloyd. Any plans for the Cantar M2 with the Mini setup? No. It's my goal to keep this rig this size. I don't want to build any bigger than this. I don't want more stuff. I'm not really looking to build a second cart. I want it to still be a bag. And the reason for that is just portability. You know, I will put it on the Super Zuka cart. I do have a video monitor. That stuff lives with the Super Zuka. But the fact that you have, Lloyd, you know, the faders here and your trims, to me, eliminates the need for any sort of control surface. For my workflows anyway, because it's not my primary cart. So, you know, I really, you know, I got the faders, I got what I need, and I can just go with that. Was another question. Does the 6-pack output analog or digital, or is that dependent on the receiver? Great question. Right now I have all analog receivers in it, the SRCs. I do believe you can put like an A10 or something like that, or a Wizicom in the PSC 6-pack. I'm sorry, I don't know that right offhand. I do believe it's compatible with the other brands, so I don't see any reason why you couldn't pass an AES signal down the balanced output of the 6-pack. But I could be wrong about that. Good question. I need to find out. Techno says, I love this. Techno, thanks for being here. I appreciate it. And thanks for the comment. I only got the 211. That's a great unit. I know guys still using those 211s today, using them for comms or whatever. And, you know, it's not really about the gear. It's about the approach. So good for you, buddy. New member, welcome. Aaron M. Bit. Aaron, thanks. Thanks for joining the channel memberships. And it's great to see you here. Thanks for the comment. All right. Is there a link for the Sonosax? I'm really new to the industry and only F8 based. You can find them online. It's just Sonosax. Nice little Google search ought to take care of that. The model is the M2D2. I'll let you take a quick look at it. This, I'm having to swing this mic, guys, here. I should have done a lav, but I can't. I mean, I got a large diaphragm microphone. Why would I mess with a lav? So here's the M2D2. This is what it looks like. I like the M2D2 name. Kind of reminds me of R2D2. I don't know if that was the intention, but I'm going to keep thinking that because that works for me. I think you started a new trend with the M2D2. I have to admit that I got the idea from somebody else. You know, a mixer friend of mine here on the channel who did a Into the Mix here with me. He had one on his Mini, and someone else had suggested, and yeah, it's a powerful little piece of gear. And I didn't even think about, full honesty, on the Sonosax M2D2, I wasn't even thinking about those workflows when I purchased it. I was just like, yeah, let's just get it. I don't know if I want to do the Melody or the Sonosax, so let's just get both and see what sticks. Okay. Alan, it's so great to see you here. Just thought I'd give a shout since I got a chance to join. I know, Alan, it's like forever me and you are just constantly trying to connect on the same schedule. I think it's my wacky schedule right now that kind of made it possible. So yeah, Alan, thanks for joining. So no more sound devices for you. No way, Adonis. I have love for my friends at Sound Devices. I am not selling my 633. I use it all the time for all different kinds of things. I just, I had two, you know, my backups. I had the 688 CL12 and I sold it. And I was having to explain in the post workflows how the Aaton file system works, and then how the Sound Devices works, and how they're different. And they were different enough where I had to create two separate workflow documents. And I just was like, no, I can't do this. And it really, no one complained, no one cared, you know, because you just like, hey, this is this, and you just kind of work with what you got. And but sonically, you know, it was, I wanted to keep the results as consistent as possible. So I'll leave that there. Alan says, I have a 6 211s as my primary wireless channels. That's awesome, Alan. Yeah, you can't beat him per that comment earlier about the, you know, Techno saying he has 211s. That's great. I didn't know that, Alan. All right. That's awesome. I love it. Cool. Well, guys, I don't know if you guys have any more questions. I've got a little bit more measuring to do on this system, and I think I'm going to wrap it up here. I appreciate everyone kind of joining in the moment and being here and participating. And I hope to do some more streams here and videos very soon. I'm definitely backlogged on a bunch of stuff, balancing the work-life balance here, but really looking forward to sharing some of the latest content with you, reviews and so forth. So thanks everyone for joining. I'll look forward to seeing you soon, and so forth. And also, if you haven't had the chance to go over to the CAS YouTube channel, please go ahead and do so. And subscribe to that. I'm actually a part of a team who's creating content for that, and looking forward to sharing with you some of the new CAS YouTube content, which you should stay posted on. So go over to the CAS YouTube channel. I'll put a link below, and go ahead and subscribe and support that channel, because it's going to be amazing. And I appreciate everyone here, and I'll look forward to seeing all of you very soon.